Hey folks, Roland at PhillyCAM here. I just wanted to do another quick tutorial. This time we're going to talk about how to use Zoom to record interviews for your show. We've done some tutorials on Streamyard, which is a paid program that you can use that gives you more fine-tuned control. But for ease of use, open it, fire away. Zoom is really one of the best bets out there. I've linked in the description below a fantastic video from the Verve with their top tips for using Zoom, whether you're using it to just meet with coworkers and friends, or actually use it to record. So be sure to check that out. Top highlights from that for me are, if your mic is muted, you can hold the space bar to temporarily unmute, and you can also hide your own image during a call so you don't get distracted by looking at yourself. But there's some other great tips in there. Be sure to check that out. Today we're going to focus just on recording. Okay, so I have installed Zoom. You can go to zoom.us to do that. It's very simple. And I have opened up the program here. We're going to create a new meeting. You can also schedule them ahead of time. But in this case, let's just make a new one here. And we're going to join with audio. Let's just fire up the webcam here. Well, that background doesn't look quite as nice as this background, but there you go. You can see all that orange bouncing up the side here. Okay, so let's say we've invited our participants. We're bringing in our guests and everything. We've got, one other guest, 2, 3. You can do up to 100 on the free version of Zoom, so you can really go wild here. What we want to do here is check our record settings. So we are going to go to preferences, and we're going to go down to where it says recording here, and there are some awesome choices here. So the first is you can choose where to actually save these files. By default, they go to your documents folder in a folder that says Zoom. You can also check this box that just says choose the location to save to after, and instead of saving it right here, it'll ask you. Now this one right here, this is my absolute favorite one, and I wish every program out there right now did it, but you can record a separate audio file for each participant, and that can be a lifesaver. So at the end of this all, it's going to download an MP4 file that you can bring into your editor that will have a piece of audio with it that includes all of the guests. And hopefully, if everybody muted themselves at the right times and nobody had crazy weird audio problems, you're good to go. You don't need to do anything else. But this little checkbox is also going to generate a separate audio track for each participant. And that way, if there's one person who forgets to mute and there's lots of background noise going on, or people talking in the background of their particular track, you can eliminate it except for when they're talking. So it gives you so much more control. This is really a super powerful checkbox here. Next one down is a choice that says optimize for third-party video editor. And if we hover over it, it says it's going to create a standard that is compatible with most video editors, but it may increase file size. Really, it's just making it slightly higher quality. Whether this box is checked or not, it'll make an MP4 that you can bring into most programs. But this is a good checkbox to just get a little higher quality. Okay, we're not going to add a timestamp. That would be a nightmare to have to deal with in editing. And we probably do want to record video during screen sharing. So if you are going to have your host or guest bring in slides or something like that, we actually record it. Okay, a couple other things here. If we go to the video tab for our own video, there are some choices we want to make here. We want to do the 16:9 widescreen whenever possible. We want to enable HD video. This is often off by default, and each one of your participants is going to have to do this themselves. So have them go in and check their video, make sure they've enabled HD video. I love this touch-up my appearance check mark. It gets rid of all my blemishes and kind of smooths out my face, but it can look a little unnatural, so use with caution. And then there's an advanced setting, which by default has some boxes checked on that we want to leave checked on. They're going to help just make the video look better. How about when we actually start recording? Well, we can click record down here. It's going to give us a little record icon. The key thing to know about using Zoom to record is it is going to do all of the switching between participants in full screen for you. So it doesn't record the gallery view of everybody by default. It records a full screen of whoever is talking, and it uses audio detection to do that. So whenever somebody starts talking, it senses that audio and it cuts to them. And that's actually really great. That's a great feature. It does all the cutting for you by being smart using the audio, but there are a couple downsides to that. You give up a little control for that. So the simplicity of use is the bonus. The lack of control over who shows up when is the issue. And one of the key things I found that can happen is if somebody accidentally makes noise, Zoom will cut to them and cut away from the person who is talking. So it's really good to take a few minutes with your participants before you start recording and ask them to try and mute whenever they're not talking if possible. Because it just helps prevent things like if suddenly there's a loud noise, a door slams or something on their video, it won't have Zoom cut to them when they don't have anything to say. And they should also be aware that even if they say something like, oh, good point, any of those things will trigger it cutting to them. Now, you may want that. If you're nodding along and you want to cut away, you can say, and it'll cut to you for a second. But you have to be aware that it's going to do that. So if you don't want it to cut to you, don't say, or right, or good point, or oh, okay. Any of those little interjections are going to cause it to cut to you. So just a few things to be aware of. Okay, let's stop our recording now as if we were done. And you'll get a dialog box up there that says that it's converting it to an MP4, and it'll be available when the meeting ends. So you're not going to get the file right away. You can say goodbye to all your participants. Great job, folks. We're going to show it at this time next month, blah, da, da. Here's when we're doing the next one. Whatever you need to do that's not part of the actual recording. Then we end the meeting. If you're the host, you can end it for everyone. And at the time that you end it, it's going to bring up a dialog box that says it's converting the video for you. And it'll either ask you where to download it if you check that box, or it'll download it to the documents folder at the end of it. And depending on how long the recording is, it can take a little while, especially if you had that high quality checkbox checked. So here we go. I can say, let's choose a new location. Let's put it in this episode folder I made, save. And here we go. Now, in here, we have our actual meeting, which includes audio. And in theory, you could just use this in your editor. You don't need anything else. But we also have an audio record folder, and it's going to record the audio, and it's going to show you the name of each participant here. And those are files that you can stack underneath the original file and get much more audio control. It's amazing. I wish every other program did it. Nice work, Zoom. Love it. Okay. All right. So those are a few tips there. Hope that was helpful. Again, check out that link from the Verve, which is just fantastic video. And if you haven't seen our Streamyard tutorials and you're interested in kind of taking some of this stuff to the next level, we'll also link those down below. And be sure to check out PhillyCAM.org/blog. We try to keep posting as much of this content as we can to help you keep creating your shows from home. But until the next one, thanks for watching.